Guys, I'm in total shock right now. I really am in shock because I, I really am because of what just happened on this last episode of Vampire Diaries. It just put me into shock because of who died on the episode. I'm in total shock. I really am, and the thing is, I don't even know what to say. So I'm in shock about it, and I'm gonna get to that, but let's just get to this review. This is gonna be my review for the Vampire Diaries Season 5, Episode 22, no, Episode 21, Promised Land, and this was the final episode before the season finale, and holy shit, it was amazing. It was the best episode of the season, but that death is just huge. Let's get to this episode. The one thing I did notice about this episode is that we did not see a whole lot of Elena in this episode. We saw Stefan and Damon, of course, but not a whole lot of Elena. Elena was not in the episode very much at all, which wasn't a problem for me because I love all the characters on this show, but let's just get to this review. So Damon squirts water on and wakes Mr. Sykes, head of corporate accounts, and he has him gagged so he can't chant any Traveler stuff. He tells this guy that his brother and girlfriend have been kidnapped by Travelers and he can't find them. He asks where Marcos is. Caroline shows up and says Liv and Luke are not answering. Caroline recognizes the banker that helped her open her first bank account, and he tells her that he's got a Traveler in him. He says he knows they're prepping for a big witch curse, which will wipe out all of the vampires as well, since vampirism is witch magic from back in the days of the originals. Damon tortures the guy, and then he tells Damon nothing he does can stop them now. So, Stefan and Elena, remember when Elena was taken by Marcos? Yeah, not only was Elena taken, Stefan was also taken, and they're literally drained dry. That's literally what they are. They each have a bucket sitting by them, and their arms are dripping blood. It really was just, it was like, holy shit, seriously. She sees someone come into the room. It's hazy, but then she sees that it's Marcos. He has a jar of liquid, gives it to Elaine to drink. She sips it, and then spits it out at him. She tells him he has enough, and asks him to let her go. Instead, he slits her arm again as she cries out. He tells her that he'll have enough when she can no longer speak, and he leaves. So Stefan's on a slab and in pain as well. Someone comes in and shushes him. She unlocks his restraints and whispers at him to go. He falls off the table. Someone else comes back to see Elena. She's blinded by the light, whimpers, but then she sees that it's Stefan. She conks out again. Stefan calls Damon collect and asks how long they've been gone and why he hasn't found them. Damon says he's been looking for them nonstop but couldn't find them. And this was huge right here. Stefan says he doesn't know where they are and says they'll be making their way back, and he says that Marcos probably has enough of their blood to do the spell. Damon says he gets it. He has to kill Marcos and save the town. He tells his brother he needs to strap on the hero hair. Enzo's there, throws something at Damon, who calls for Bonnie to translate. Enzo says the other side is about to collapse and needs to be brought back now. Now let's go to Damon in this episode, by the way, absolutely hilarious. He had some of the funniest lines of the whole episode. Damon is just, this is why I love Damon's character, because he's so funny, and he's genius, but he's also so funny. And also, Marcos, by the way, an amazing villain, really. I think this was the first time that I thought this guy's a great villain. I really thought that in this episode. Damon says that escape from the Netherwood needs to wait until tomorrow, but Enzo throws a bottle of liquor into the fire and makes it flame up. So Damon says he has work to do, tells Bonnie to bring back. He says that since Liv is working on a spell to save her, she can include him in it. Jeremy comes in. Damon says he and his Xbox buddy need to run an errand. They leave, and Enzo tells Bonnie that she needs to take him in to the witch, and she says there's a problem. So Stefan and Elena walk on the side of the road. They try to hitchhike, but the one car they see passes them by. They are exhausted and haven't had enough to eat. Stefan says that Damon is in full-on hero mode, and she says she likes him like that, but then reminds him that her blood is toxic to Damon, which means they are in a literally toxic relationship. Stefan says that she and Damon are miserable at each other, so they should just be together. And I really like that Stefan says that. Stefan says, you know, you two are miserable at each other, so you two should be together. And it's kind of sad, because I did want Stefan and Elena together, but, you know, not going to happen now. Luke meets his sister for breakfast. She tells him she ordered them waffles for their last meal. She tells him the Coven is pissed because Luke didn't hide the doppelgangers well enough. She says they shouldn't have gotten sucked into being friends with him. Luke is having a migraine. The silverware is shaking. Liv says it's not her. It's actually the Coven. She says they have to stop Marcos, and their only move left is to kill Stefan and Elena. So that's what they want to do. That's what they want to do to Stefan and Elena. They want to kill them. So, the mailman in Mystic Falls is delivering vials of blood. He drops one off to Pam, a teacher, whose husband tells her that she is different lately. She tells him that it's taken him a while to realize that his wife has been taken over by another entity. She tells him her name is Carl, and his real body is in a cave. He says she needs help, and his wife, Carl, stabs him in the neck and says their marriage wasn't working anyway. So Stefan and Elena stagger in the middle of the road, and she says she thought she saw a unicorn. They joke and walk exhausted. Elena says that when she and Caroline were young, she couldn't decide if her control freakiness or endless cheeriness were worse. Stefan says if Caroline was here now, they both would be laughing, and Elena tells him they need to put on their Caroline hats. She calls out to the universe to do something amazing. Stefan says she's going to be kidding. She puts her boobs on display, basically to, like, entice someone, and then she puts out her thumb, obviously means they're going to hitchhike. So, they end up hitchhiking, and this woman comes up. So Stefan tries to compel her. She tells him she's the one who freed him and says to get him because the Travelers are after them, and they do. So Damon and the boys are collecting up Traveler husks. He says that Marcos put them in a cave and he's hoping he wants them back. He has them all over the house. Caroline tells him that Julian and / Tyler is no help, and Damon says they're all sick of Tyler anyway, which I think pretty much we're all sick of Tyler. I'm sick of Tyler, personally. Honestly, can Tyler just die? Seriously, Tyler needs to die. Caroline says his cool attitude is tiring, and she knows he's upset about Elena. She tells him to quit torturing Tyler's body until she figures something out. So the woman that broke them loose is actually Julian's wife, Maria, which is pretty big, I thought. She says because again, if you remember, Julian wants Stefan and Elena dead. So obviously this girl is not gonna she's not gonna keep them safe. She's gonna do something bad to them, obviously. She says she couldn't rescue them herself, or she would be got. She says she just wants her husband back. She tells him that Tyler is permanently gone, and says his body will go from hybrid to werewolf to dead, and then both Tyler and Julian will be dead, so she has to get to him. So Julian tells Caroline to quit hovering. She says he's in the body of a former love of his life, and she wants to fight for him. So Caroline does still love Tyler. I like seeing that Caroline does still love Tyler. So Caroline asks why the Traveler can't find someplace else to live. He says it's nice here, but it's also about revenge against the witches. He says the Travelers see the vampires, witches, daylight rings, and everything is pervasions of pure magic. Julian tells her that Marcos doesn't have a sense of humor about getting what he wants. Marcos comes to the cave, sees that all the Traveler bodies are gone. He sees a note from Damon saying he took them and to contact him about it. Marcos snatches the note down angrily. Sorry. Then Damon gets a call from Marcos, and Marcos tells him that he can't just hand them over to anyone and ask them to describe them. So Marcos describes where they are in the room, so Damon realizes he's at home. He comes in, Damon tells him that it's polite to knock. Caroline wonders if killing Tyler will get the Traveler out, and says that when Liv brings Enzo back, she can just bring Tyler back too. So, knowing that they're in danger, Bonnie and Caroline decide to go over to their, dorm and pack up because they literally are probably going to die. They're realizing, okay, we're probably going to die here. We need to take everything with us and just get out of here. Bonnie's packing their dorm room. Caroline says this is more important. Bonnie comes clean and tells her there is no spell and she made it up. She says she and everyone on the other side are going away for good. And she says she should not kill Tyler. Enzo's there and hears and isn't happy. So Marcos compliments on the house, and Damon says the bodies are the only thing on the table. He says he's got all the Travelers doused in gasoline and is ready to light a match. And Marcos says he would like to give them the opportunity to return the actual bodies. It's not essential to make his point. He stabs one of the bodies in the neck, killing it for good. So that was definitely really big. And we basically see what he wants to do is he just wants to, set the whole town on fire and then build his own town, which that's going to be huge. If that is how the season ends, with him literally burning Mystic Falls to death, I mean, that's going to be awesome. If Marcos actually gets what he wants, I don't know if that's going to happen, but this seems like, I really don't know at this point. especially after the end of this episode, which I'll get to, soon. Marco says his plan is much grander, and the travelers are all willing to die for it. Damon tells him Mystic Falls is a dump, and Marco says it's just a means to the end, pours himself a whiskey, then explains that once the witch curse is broken, the spell will ripple out, unraveling witch magic everywhere, with only pure magic, traveler magic will remain. And Damon lunges at him. Marcos throws him to the floor, says he has had doppelganger blood and is channeling the power of all his people. All the doppelgangers are over town, crush their veins, their vials of blood, and are chanting. Elena asks Maria if she can drink from her little, and she tells her to wait until they're home. Liv is in front of the car. Maria tells them she's likely trying to kill them. And, here it's really, really intense, because they try to get out the back, but the doors are locked by magic. Liv rams the vehicle back and forth, damaging it, shaking up Maria, trying to kill Stefan and Elena, basically. Stefan and Elena, who are still weak, the vehicle's smashed up, and Maria's head is bleeding. Luke and Liv tell Elena and Stefan that they have to make the doppelganger blood useless. They tell them that one of them has to die, but it doesn't matter which one. Now, that is a very important line here because of the end of the episode. So Enzo comes to Bonnie, and she tells him that there's no solution. She tells him the travelers use doppelganger blood and destroy the other side. She says he's not coming back, and he needs to accept it. So Enzo says he'll accept it when he no longer exists. He says he spent 50 years in a cell being tortured, and he found hope then, and won't accept his death now until it's done. So then Maria shows up to Bonnie, and Bonnie realizes she does know her. Bonnie tells Enzo a traveler is there that died, and she asks Bonnie to tell Julian that she tried. Damon pours a drink and says he would invite Marcos to stay for dinner, but he doesn't know what they eat. Julian talks into Damon's head and tells him to use the element of surprise since he doesn't know that he's there. So maybe Julian actually wants to help them. So Marcos talks about how he'll read you the house once they're dead. Damon invites him to see the wine cellar. They go down, talk wine. Marcos asks where Stefan is, and says they slipped away from him. Damon says, let's go see, and brings him upstairs, but kicks a key into Julian's cell as he passes so he can free himself. So Luke and Liv's magic is failing at this point. Elena knocks her aside. Liv tells him the spell has started. You know, that fake spell that Bonnie said? That's what they think's going on right now. There is no spell, though, as we know, because Bonnie said it's fake. The Travelers' possession residents are gathered in bunches around town chanting. Elena tells Liv she trusted her, and Liv tells her she's going to be dead anyway. She and Stefan start to burn, and they realize that their daylight rings are not working, so they rush in the grill, and they're basically trying to talk to Matt, saying, why are our daylight rings not working? And they want to know why they're not working and everything. And the Travelers, meanwhile, are out in the street chanting. Blood runs out of the nose and the ears of the bodies they're possessing. Matt runs them through the underground tunnels of the grill, but suddenly Elena's drowning. Stefan has a gunshot, the damages that killed them as humans. And I just thought that was definitely a very big scene, because they're starting to see how they died, and I just thought that was definitely really big. So Marcos hears a noise, but then Tyler and Julian are on him, and they bite him. Tyler asks where his veins are, and then sunlight burns Damon. Damon tells Tyler they have a problem, and in the square, the Traveler-possessed bodies kneel over one by one. The Travelers in Damon's house start to wake up. Marcos says it's no longer his home. Damon's gunshot wound appears in his side, and Tyler starts to struggle too. Marcos tells them they can't leave and try to outrun the spell, but says it will catch up to them. Tyler and Damon leave. Damon staggers out to the road. It's just shit's going down here. It really is. From this part of the episode, shit just continues to go down, and I love that. A car then pulls up. It's Jeremy, and Damon says he's never been so happy to see him. Caroline Pax asks if she should take her hair products. She asks why Bonnie is still sitting there, because death is literally on the way. And Bonnie says she thinks she knows how to get them all back from the other side, and the only one that can do that is Enzo, which is pretty big. So Matt has blood bags for Stefan and Elena. Jeremy pulls up with Damon, and she asks if he's okay, but then sees his gunshot wound. She goes to him, kisses him, and, Damon's pretty surprised that she kissed him, and she says the same thing that Damon said to her in the last episode, that she's had a really crappy day and needed it. And Elena says she thought she would never see him again and couldn't think of a worse way to die. So I guess they're back together now, which I'm happy for them, because I see no problem with Damon and Elena. I endorse this. I really see Stefan and Elena right now as just, I see them as friends, really. I saw them as friends, and that's what I see them as. I see them just as really, really good friends. So then what happens is Maria stares at her dead body. Enzo is there and tells her it's surreal. She asks who he is, and he says he And he says he's dead too, but has a proposition for her. And this is really interesting, because he asks if she knows the spell, and she does. She says she needs people to overwhelm the anchor, and he says he can handle it. A strong wind blows, Enzo takes her hand, but then Maria is blown away. So, there goes the spell. So, Bonnie then has a box of stuff, then Enzo's there. He tells her they hit a little snag. Caroline wonders where Bonnie, and then where, Caroline wonders where. Bonnie and then Julian is there and asks where Maria is. Stefan has to tell him that Maria's dead, which, is a really hard thing to do, because obviously he doesn't want to hear that he's dead. And he has to make it sound like he has to basically tell him, because I'm sure that Julian was thinking, oh, he killed him, but, he didn't kill him. He didn't kill her. And, basically, Julian's miserable because his people are trying to kill him, and now his wife is dead. Caroline tries to snap his neck because Julian attacks, and then, the most surprising part of the episode, he rips out Stefan's heart, which, as soon as he does that, Julian says dead doppelgangers should stop the spell, and, Stefan then falls to the ground. His skin gets all crumbly, and, the effects in this scene were great. His skin gets all crumbly, though, and he just passes out. And, Bonnie asks Enzo what happened. He said that they have found a way out. They have a way to find a way out. And Stefan is there, and Bonnie goes to him and says it can't be happening. He asks if she's found a way to bring them all back, and she says she lost it. She tells him she's sorry, and it turns out that Stefan is dead. Stefan is dead. I am in literal shock that Stefan is dead. And the episode ends with Caroline crying, basically screaming, help, 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 somebody help. And Stefan's dead. Now, let me just say that yes, I knew some major was going to die, because they said in these episodes that they said, before the end of the season, 3 major characters will be gone. Now, when I heard 3 major characters, I thought, okay, Bonnie, I thought Bonnie, Tyler, Matt, because they are major characters. They've been there since season 1. And I thought maybe they were going to die, which I could see. I never thought it would be one of the main 3. And I applaud them for taking a risk. I really do, because they really, really shocked us. It was a really well done death. At the same time, though, you better bring him back, because I do not see them sticking with this death. I can't think that Stefan is dead. It doesn't seem logical that he's dead. It really doesn't, because Stefan's been there from the beginning, and he's one of the 3 main characters on the show, so I can't just think that he's dead. I really don't believe that. I'm thinking that somehow he is going to come back. I really do. Because that's what I'm thinking they're going to do, is that there's got to be a way that he is going to come back, because he's one of the 3 main characters, and I don't think he's permanently dead. I think this is probably a temporary death. But literally, I'm still in shock over it. But now we gotta get to the finale, because the finale's next week, and it doesn't seem like they showed any more remorse towards Stefan. So I'm thinking that he's not permanently dead, because if Stefan was truly dead, they would do stuff for him, because they would. But I do want to say that the one thing that I do want to say is that I think this season is probably going to end with everyone leaving Mystic Falls, because the way that Marco said it, they're gonna blow up Mystic Falls, and Mystic Falls is gonna be gone by the end of this episode. I think that's probably what's gonna happen. That's how the season's gonna end. And honestly, I think that'd be pretty cool if Mystic Falls just blows up. Now, 2 more characters need to die. They said 3 major characters are going to die, so 2 other people need to die, and I think it's going to be Bonnie and Tyler. Bonnie, I hope it's not Bonnie, because if it's Bonnie, Stefan can never come back. But Tyler, I'm thinking, will die, because, 1, everyone said they're sick of Tyler. Everyone literally said in this episode, we're sick of Tyler. Even though Caroline, wants him back, I'm thinking he is going to die. As far as the second main death goes, I really don't know. Possibly Bonnie. I really hope not, because Stefan, if that's true, Stefan's gone forever, and that'd be really sad. But that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know what you guys saw this episode. I know a lot of you are probably in shock over this episode. I'm literally in shock too. But that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for Continuum. So see you then. Bye.